In the year 2024, the greatest mystery surrounding the film industry is, where have the $100+ million box office opening weekends gone? Oh where has our cultural relevance gone? I am getting inspiration for this video from a Hollywood Reporter article that is aptly titled, quote, "What happened to the $100 million box office openers?" If you read the article, you would think that it was the extended WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes that is killing the big opening weekends right now. This comes straight from the article. Quote, "Hollywood is sucking wind right now. The strike is wreaking havoc," says Wall Street analyst Eric Handler of MKM Partners. "For the first time in years, we started off summer with an unproven, character-driven film," he adds, referring to The Fall Guy. "I'm not worried because there are big movies coming, but it does put pressure on the rest of the summer and year." End quote. Well, I really hate to break this to you, Mr. Eric Handler, but the industry's problems stem back long before the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. You know, I'm starting to think that it was not a good idea to drink before I started recording this, so if I screw up even more, I'm just going to have to restart from the beginning, and fuck it, I'm going to leave this in because I don't care. The problems, they even extended back long before COVID forced the theaters to shut down, and many of them not having the money to reopen when everything calmed down. The biggest problem facing a lot of the movies being made and released widely today is the fact that the budgets are simply too damn high. Fast X made roughly $700 million during its theatrical run in 2023. However, because the movie had a reported production budget of $350 million and usually double that to include for the marketing budget, Fast X was labeled as a box office bomb. The Fall Guy, which is a movie that the article uses as an example, had a reported production budget of $130 million and only made $27.7 million opening weekend. Universal rushed both The Fall Guy and Fast X to Premiere VOD, Premiere Video On Demand, to make up the losses in the theatrical market. The trickle-down effect of these ever-increasing movie budgets is the increase in the average price for movie tickets. Now, I understand that inflation is a thing. A theater ticket that would have cost you $3 in 1978 is going to cost around $7 to $8 in today's money.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Just a side note, fantastic short film, Hardware Wars. That was the very, very last line of it. Watch it on YouTube if you get the chance. It's actually really, really funny. Getting back to it. But if you look at the average movie ticket price, according to thenumbers.com, the average ticket price in 2023 was $10.78. 2024 has not concluded at the time of recording and publishing this video. Therefore, we do not have an average ticket price for 2024. We have to go based on the prior year. Now, according to movietickеtrates.com, the ticket prices at the major chains, that's Regal, AMC, and Cinemark here in the United States, are all at or above the average price with their pricing. The price at Regal Cinemas to see a movie, if you're a child under 11 years old, is $10 to $13. And that price isn't much better at AMC, coming at about $10.69, with Cinemark being the cheapest at $6.25 to $10.50. And that's just the price of a child's ticket. The price for adults is much higher, obviously. The price for an adult movie ticket at Regal comes in around $13 to $16.50, with AMC coming in around $13.69 and Cinemark around $12 to $13.50. Is it any wonder why most people now just wait for the home video release for a lot of these movies? If the movie comes to Redbox, people are only going to spend maybe a couple of bucks to rent the DVD or the Blu-ray for a day, but even if it's for a couple of days, Redbox is still a better value proposition than going to the theater sometimes. The common defense from diehard theater advocates is that you can't replicate the theater experience at home. Do you know how much a 55-inch 4K Roku TV is going to cost you now? Roughly $300. At-home theater technology is only getting cheaper and cheaper, and depending on the size of your TV and soundproofing, yes, even soundproofing panels are getting cheaper. it's easier to replicate the theater experience at home today than it was 20 years ago. I'm not even going to go down the rabbit hole of theater concessions where you can buy a box of Reese's Pieces from the store for $1.25, but you'll end up paying $6, $7, $8 at the movie theater for the exact same box of candy, even though even though the box is bigger at the movie theater, it doesn't matter. It's the exact same amount of Reese's Pieces that you're going to get from that box that you're going to buy at Dollar Tree, for those that don't know. The sad reality of the whole situation is that it could have been avoided. Had the theater owners just pushed back against the studios to lower their budgets, because the more you increase the ticket prices, the less people will come. Also, how many people working on some of these movies, from actors to writers to directors to producers, have been coming out openly saying that if you don't go support my movie in theaters, then you're a racist, sexist, homophobe, etc., for years upon years at this point. Frankly, people are getting real sick of that shit. So now, they just opt out completely, and the people behind the production continue to name call people who don't support their movies in theaters with every name in the book, and the cycle repeats. But no one bothers to ponder this question. How many movies being produced today are just throwaway garbage that isn't worth your time seeing? I remember watching the 25th James Bond movie, No Time to Die, on Amazon Prime Video when that finally came out to streaming. A near 3-hour James Bond movie. Yet the only thing that I remember from that movie is the fact that it took 25 minutes to get to the title sequence. Other than that, I remember nothing from that movie. I completely forgot what that movie was about within about 10 minutes of finishing the movie. And I'm not exaggerating. I still do not remember what No Time to Die was even about. Avengers Endgame came out in 2019 and became the second highest grossing movie of all time, even beating James Cameron's Avatar, until that movie got re-released and made more money, and then Avatar took its spot back as highest grossing movie of all time. Ask yourself this question. Do you really remember Avengers Endgame for anything other than it's the movie where Tony Stark dies at the end? Almost nobody talks about Avengers Endgame now. Matt Reeves' The Batman with Robert Pattinson was the talk of the internet when that released initially. One of the best Batman movies ever made. Do you see anybody talking about Matt Reeves' The Batman anymore? Yet, you could probably find people that can talk about the movie Gladiator all day long and still quote this most famous line.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
The sad part is that movie released in 2000. If we're being honest with ourselves as movie fans, the movie industry didn't really survive beyond the millennium, the year 2000. The last big hurrah that came out of Hollywood was Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. And if we're talking about the last major franchise that got everybody talking, that crown goes to Harry Potter, that ended with Deathly Hallows Part 2 in 2011. Nobody talks about the Fantastic Beasts movies. You could just ignore those. People are already typing away that, well, actually, the MCU from Iron Man to Avengers Endgame was the last major franchise that everybody is talking about. Ha 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 ha. Ask this question to yourself. Was the MCU popular because it was good? Or was it popular because of the marketing and near monopolization of the movie theaters? I've told this story before, but when I went to go see Hacksaw Ridge back in 2016, the theater I went to was an AMC, only had one theater dedicated to Hacksaw Ridge, and Hacksaw Ridge only had maybe 5 or 6 showings on opening day. On the day Hacksaw Ridge premiered, Doctor Strange also premiered. Of all the movies that the AMC was showing that day, Doctor Strange took the majority of showings with roughly 65% of the theater. Now, I do want to stress that those numbers are unconfirmed by any other sources. I was just making a best guess. So take that 65% number with a massive grain of salt. However, When Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness came out, there was a report from Variety that basically said that AMC Empire 25 in New York City had 60 showings of Doctor Strange 2 on just Thursday opening day alone. I even made a video about this article at the time called something to the effect of Doctor Strange 2's box office numbers are bullshit. And I know that I've been rambling, but to get back to the topic at hand, where have the $100 million+ opening weekends gone? It's a very complicated answer with a lot of reasons as to why those big opening weekends are no longer the case. Now, in my opinion, people aren't going to settle for the quote-unquote flavor of the week movies anymore. Now, if you want audiences to watch your movie, you're gonna have to give people a reason to watch the movie a minimum of 2 to 3 times now. And I'm not alone in this opinion. From the exact same Hollywood Reporter article, quote, Comscore chief box office analyst Paul DeGarabedian, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce his name to save my life, has another theory. The industry has over the years backed itself into a corner with a fixation on the $100 million opening weekend as both a key benchmark for success and as a revenue-based marketing hook that, if not achieved, knocks great films on their heels and deems them financial failures, often unfairly. Studios are now placed in the position of defending their marketing and distribution strategies that, unable to power their big budget releases, are scrutinized for not achieving this lofty goal. In today's modern theatrical marketplace, the emphasis should shift from the short-term gain to the long-term playability, since this is now a game of yards instead of inches, DeGarabedian says, and the analytics of what constitutes a hit or a flop must be reevaluated.